Good morning. Hello. Welcome to Reflections. I'm Reverend Shireen, and it is April. It's been a little while since I've done a video. I went on the spiritual pilgrimage in March, and since getting back, it's been more like, not like a phoenix that has disintegrated into ash and needs to be reborn. And not like a butterfly emerging from a cocoon, although that gets closer. But it's more like a hermit crab or a snake or something that has grown too big for its current home, its current vessel, its current things. And so I had to shed some skin or escape the shell and go find. It really reminds me more of a hermit crab where, outgrown my current situation, my current house, had to leave that favorite shell and go find and select a new shell that fit just perfectly. And having had hermit crabs, that takes them a while. They try on different ones until they find the one that's just right. And I think in some aspects I'm still trying on new shells. And what that means to me in my life and to you as my viewers is that I'm going to be trying out some things, and I'm going to see what fits, what resonates. One thing that keeps coming up is perhaps doing these videos, or at least one video a week, more through YouTube live streaming, or Facebook Live, or both, which I've seen, but I haven't figured that one out. But that way there's more interaction. You can actually be online and submit a question or have a discussion that way through the stream chat. So like I said, I haven't done it. I don't really know how it works from this side. I've watched them and I know how it works from the other side of being a participant with it. So that's one thing I'm looking at. Have the holistic fair coming up in a couple weeks here. First one we've put on that way. So that's a growth period all in itself. Looking still at putting on the transformation through joy, living with joy class that I did last year, doing another iteration of that. Also looking at creating another class. It's still at this exact moment pretty vague. I think it needs a catalyst, somebody that's presents themselves with the need, and then things happen, or maybe it's just me needing to grow to another place. Anyway, I got some things in the works, some classes, some stuff, videos, live streaming, all of that. It's just kind of trying on new shells, trying to figure out what works. But so that's where I am. That's where I've been. I do really enjoy this aspect of connecting. When I do the videos, I get to connect with the energy and set the bubble for those that are vibrating at a certain frequency or looking for what I offer. And so it's fun to connect with that just on the energetic level, because we are energy before we are physical. We are spirit before we are energy. And so it's a bigger connection that I really, really, really enjoy. I also love doing the one-on-one, work in my office, doing the healing work, having individual appointments, all that. And so I think, the streaming might be kind of a midway point where people can connect with me, get a little flavor of that on an individual in a group way, because it's still within a group, it's still very public. So versus coming to my office or meeting me in my online office and having a one-to-one private session. So there's just all these elements that are kind of out there swirling around. All right, so let's just take a moment, connect to yourself, connect to the divine, and just may it be with the blessings of the streaming, whatever happens during this video reading benefit each of us in our spiritual growth, awareness, and understanding, all in divine timing and divine order. Amen. So today we're going to be using the OSHO Zen Tarot deck. I just wanted to kind of keep it in the simple realm of tarot today. And, you know, really what I love about tarot and the oracle cards is that often we view our lives from a single perspective. We stand in the southeast corner and we always look at the same view, and we look at whatever happens within that view. And sometimes we get limited or stuck by that because, you know, just shifting, looking at a room from a different direction, you see different things. You see some clutter that maybe you get used to not seeing. You see some things that need to be picked up. You also notice, oh, I never really noticed how the light played off of that before, or really cool things. So tarot is one way to shift our perspective, to get us out of one corner, looking at things from a new perspective, to get us out of our own pictures in our head about how things are, and really moves us to a different place, challenges us to look at life and things from a different perspective. And that's one thing I love about it. So, all right. I'm just going to go off the top today. Okay. So this is looking more like a places of opposites kind of reading. So we're just going to go there. And the things we're aware of, wanting to create, wanting to step into becoming it's not becoming, we are the masters of our own space, internal for certain. We get to decide what thoughts we allow in, what emotions we assign to things, how we experience those, whether we allow ourselves to experience our emotions, whether we shut them off, all those things. But in being the master, there is still growth. It's not a destination. It's still a process. It's still an understanding. It's learning the communication that your body, mind, spirit pulls into play. Being consciously aware, and then using that awareness to guide yourself through life and to experience what you've really come into this life to experience. And it's a whole different level than being reactionary. And, you know, that's where most of us start in life, is being reactionary. Something occurs, there's a situation, a circumstance, and we go into either emotional response or empathetic response, or just, you know, it's all response, instead of being able to look at things from an observational standpoint and an awareness of what we're feeling and why, and then making choices. Which choices is still a response, but it's a different area than just reacting. It's not reaction, it's response. So, what we're not aware of, I'm going to find this kind of humorous, upside down. It is the 5 of Earth suit. And I'm just going to turn around so you can see it for a moment. But there's a child standing outside of what appears to be a locked gate. But truly, the chain is just kind of looped over this thing. It's not locked to anything. And 5s represent free will choice. So here are things that we're not aware of, where we have put ourselves on the outside of something we want, and we've set some sort of limit that says we can't have it. We can't be in there. And it's usually a very artificial limit, but something that feels very real to us, or that we believe is super real. And so just be aware of when you encounter your own limits. And most often these manifest through money limits. I can't because I don't have the money to, or any of those limits that really, if you had to be somewhere or you had to do something, you know that you would overcome, you know you'd figure it out, you know that it would all work out. But when you're just looking at it, you put those efforts, oh, I can't because I have these time conflicts, or I'm just too busy, or I don't have enough money, or I don't have enough energy. And really they are all artificial things that you've put yourself on the outside of. So really look at what you want for yourself and the choices you're making for yourself and the limits you're putting out there that may or may not, most likely are not real limits. And they're kind of driving the ship though. That's the thing about this bottom card, is those are the unconscious. Here we have the conscious awareness. Here we have the unconscious awareness. And, that play between making deliberate responses to a situation because we can see the broader perspective and because we understand what we're feeling, versus the unconscious things that we just filter things out. Oh, I can't have that because, and we don't even really hear the thoughts that are going through our head kind of driving that. So, and coming from the recent past or your analytical wisdom, the way your brain thinks, this is an interesting card. Again, it's upside down, and that feels very significant to me. This is innocence turned on its head. So this is where where you may believe in enjoying the innocent moments of things, or the world is naive, and yet you've turned it on your head. And again, you're not allowing, your mind won't allow you to enjoy that innocence. There's a judgment against it that says you're being naive, you're being stupid, the world is out of control, you need to think about these things, you need to plan for everything, plan for every contingency. And that has some truth in it. I mean, you don't want to just bury your head in the sand and be ignorant, but ignorance and innocence are two different things. And this card really speaks to me of not letting your mind pull you out of the simple enjoyment of life. Sure, there's all kinds of things going on in the world. I mean, and in any country, there's different things going on, and they're all still affected by other countries. So there's that whole realm. And then there's, even within your city, within your neighborhood, there are things that are going on that you can look at from any perspective. But within your day-to-day life, your connection to life, don't let your mind trick you into believing that it isn't good. In your day-to-day life, you can find your inner peace. You can find the things that make you happy. You can make the choices to do those things and to live in that state of innocent bliss, of innocent enjoyment, of noticing all the miracles that happen on that very innocent level. Whether it's the sun came up through the window and warmed up your skin and how beautiful that felt, whether it's looking out and noticing a flower bloom, the cherry trees in bloom, the magnolias trees in bloom, or even the crocuses coming up through snow, depending on where you are. All those things are very innocent and beautiful and perfect in that moment. So don't let your mind distract you from that kind of innocence. And in the emotional wisdom, we have the Knight of the Mind, and it's fighting, gearing up. So notice where you are in that emotional response I was talking about with the first one. When you go into ER, when you go into emotional response and you don't know what you're upset about, you don't know what's going on, but you feel like you got to fight. Don't allow that to be the thing that is, or just notice where you're going into emotional response or empathetic response, wanting to fix someone, wanting to heal something, rather than being aware of all the things coming into play. You don't have to just respond. you can certainly feel the emotions, but when they put you into fight, when you just feel like you got to fight against something, that's generally an indicator that you are encountering those self-imposed limits, those self-imposed fear pictures. So just be aware of them. This whole thing is about awareness. It's about being aware of where you are, being aware of where your mind is tricking you, being aware of where your emotions are coming into play and making you go into things that aren't natural, that are actually just a response to these unconscious programs at play that tell you that you are limited, you are stuck, you can't have things, you're on the outside, you're not worthy. Any of those things. So this time is just about a big awareness of where those unconscious limits are so you can make them conscious and stop the mental torture, stop the emotional reaction, and come to a place of center. Speaking of center, the center card is breakthrough. And this will be a big breakthrough moment for you. Anytime we start to realize, oh, all of that drama, all of that confusion, all that pain was just something I'd created in the back of my mind and was playing out. That's a huge breakthrough, because that's the moment you can retrain your brain. It's the moment you can retrain your actions. It's the moment you can retrain your emotions. And not that emotions lie. You feel what you feel. But noticing if what you're feeling is in response to reality, to something that's happening for real, or response to something that you've conjured in your brain. I read something the other day. It said, I got 99 problems and 89 of them are just things I made up in my own head, stories I've told myself that I'm stuck in the drama of. Oh, yeah. So allow yourself to have this breakthrough. Really allow yourself to notice where you are able to step out of any of the mental traps, any of the emotional fight response, and break through some of these programming, these unconscious limits that say you have to be on the outside of something that you want. And really, you can lift off that chain, open the gate, walk in, and have what you want and choose it from a very aware and conscious place. Pretty deep reading today. So, yeah, they're saying there's another card, but okay, so I gotta follow it. Yeah. And with breakthroughs come a new vision. And allow yourself to have that growth. Allow yourself to come to that moment of, oh, and aha, and allow it to be magical. There's a temptation when we encounter these kinds of things before we break through to really go into self-judgment against, well, if I'd only stopped doing that 500 years ago. But, you are in process. Life is constant change and growth. That is why we are here. So love the fact that you come to these awarenesses. Love the fact that you can notice anytime one of these unconscious things comes forward to consciousness. Be excited. Love it. It means big changes. You have to put on all the new things. You got to go find that new shell, but allow yourself to have the new vision. It comes from the breakthrough. It comes from stopping all of the unconscious actions and reactions, whether they're mental or emotional. So there it is. Take care. Be blessed. I hope to see you soon for another reflection and maybe even live for some interaction. So keep posted. And, if I do the live stream, apparently that notification bell on the YouTube, you've got to have the receive notifications thing checked within the settings for my channel, and it will tell you when I'm going live. It most likely will be in the morning around between 9 and 11 Pacific time. It will likely either be on a Monday or a Tuesday. Those seem to be the easiest scheduling times right now. But now that I put that out there, we'll see what kind of things want to come in to compete with that. But that's the intention I'm setting. So take care, be blessed. We'll see you next time on A Reflection. Bye.